Welcome back everyone to Dust and Salt. Will here. When we left off, we had just become the leader of the Nameless, so it's kind of time to start heading out into the world, I guess. Or specifically the woods. The events of the next few months happened very fast. Merely a few days after you were elected as the leader of the Nameless people, you begin your tour around the Nameless Forest. You visit every village and talk with the inhabitants about their problems, their relations with the neighboring realms, and of course, what military resources they have. Soon you become famous among your people as the young warrior who has come to lead them to a future filled with glory. The more people you talk to, the more hope you see in their eyes for brighter times to come. Ragnar, Nan, and Abbas are your constant companions. I'm glad we rescued them. One rainy day, a few months after the vote, you walk along one of the forest paths leading to the next village. Ragnar breaks the silence brought by the rain. People love you, boy. They love you, and they would follow you anywhere. If you can unite the other peoples in the north and destroy Merc, you'll be the most revered ruler in the North Rim. Why not king, or what do you mean? I'm going to go with what do you mean. What do you mean? The people of the north have long needed to be united. The west is dominated by Merc and discord. The rulers of Northblaze, Hellfury, and Coalhorn govern the east. Beyond the Iron Hills are the lands of Outrimmer. In the south, the word of Weep is law. But what about the north? The nations there are divided and fighting not only to the west and east, but also among one another. Someone must put an end to this, and I would be glad if the new ruler of these lands were you. Turn to Nan and Abbas. You turn to Nan and Abbas, who are walking behind you. They nod in agreement. Have your three mentors been plotting without you? Yet, if you must be honest, there's a lot of truth in Ragnar's words. Maybe you really are the one whose fate is to unite the nations of the north under one crown. After a few days. After a few more days, you decide that it is the time you continued with your initial plan. To defeat Merc, you need strong allies. The Nameless people have many soldiers, but you cannot take all of them with you. That would slow you down, and besides, no ruler goes to negotiations accompanied by his entire army. You agree with your three mentors that it would be wisest to travel with a medium-sized company. Alright. Well, what do we want to bring with us? We've got siege machines, allies, troops, or a fleet. A part of me is tempted to go by water. So let's do a fleet. Nan told you once, if you want to defeat Merc, sooner or later you'll have to lay siege to the mighty city. And you will only be able to win the siege if you have ships to attack Merc by sea as well. You thought about it and decided she is right. You need a fleet. However, where can you find ships to fight under your flag? Oh. Well, we have options here, but they're all locked, so I guess we're going to work on this later. You'll find a solution to this problem later. You don't want to concern with it right now. Got it. So we need a fleet, we need troops, we need siege machines, and we need allies, I think is what we're going to find here. Let's check out siege machines. The possibility of an open war with Merc is becoming more real every day. One night, as you discuss with your mentors how to acquire siege machines to use on the City of Seven, fate gives you an opportunity that none of you has ever dreamed of. Your warriors bring in a message from Coalhorn. Coalhorn is known for its workshops and big production of siege engines. It is also a city whose population is divided into two castes. The Horned, or the upper class, the masters of the city. The ruler of Coalhorn, Lord Azazer, is the last representative of the Dark Lord's dynasty, which belongs to the Horned. The Pitmen are the poor class. They serve the Horned and mine the Black Mountains, which provide the city with an inexhaustible fund of riches and resources. For a very long time, there's been tension between the two castes. The messengers from the Pitmen. To your surprise, he said he is here on behalf of someone named Gerard, the self-proclaimed leader of the Pitmen. You learn that they rose in rebellion against the Horned 2 days ago, and there's a battle for control of the city. Gerard seeks your help to remove Azazer and the Horned from power, and in return, he offers you to name your prize. Well, perfect. If you support the Pitmen, you can ask for catapults, siege towers, battering rams, and ballistae from Lord Azazer's barracks. Okay, good. But we're not yet ready to go support them, I guess, so we can at some point. Let's check on allies. Having assessed the military resources at your disposal, you know the Nameless people have a good amount of soldiers, but far from enough to stand against Merc on their own. You gather your mentors for counsel. Let's turn to the most powerful lord of the north. We can seek help from our closest neighbors. Convert Merc's strongest allies to our side. Well, I mean, this would be the most effective if we could do it, but it seems unlikely. Let's go to the neighbors. We can seek help from our closest neighbors. Who do you have in mind? Asked Ragnar. The Lord of the Woods? Yes, Lord Salir. The ruler of Oakleaf, whose skilled archers can reach with their longbows even an enemy on the other side of the battlefield. I've heard that in recent years the armies of Merc have invaded Oakleaf many times, the Outremer reports out. Perhaps the Lord of the Woods would agree to a common alliance against Merc. Both Ragnar and Abbas are on the same page, and it seems to them this would be a wise choice. Well, okay, what about let's turn to the most powerful lord in the north? Let's turn to the most powerful lord in the north, Lord Aaron, the ruler of Northblaze. Lord Aaron, the ruler of the Steel City, the leader of the terrible knights of Northblaze, whose armor is almost impossible to pierce even by the strongest blades. Non seems pleased with your suggestion and adds, the influence of Merc grows threatening. I think the Steel Lord would support any undertaking that might weaken the power of the Seven High Lords. The giant of Northblaze growls in agreement. My people are honorable and would back up a worthy cause. I see. Well, let's convert Merc's strongest allies to our side. Convert Merc's strongest allies to our side. Discord, the second in the power of the West Rim. Ragnar is convinced that this is impossible, which was what I was saying. There's no way this can happen. Discord and Merc do not like each other, but Lord Fanrag would never support an uprising that could bring the nations of the North under one flag. A strong and united North would be a threat to Discord's influence. Abbas, as usual, has a different opinion. Discord would benefit from the fall of Merc. It could strengthen its own power in the West Rim. Non points out, the power of Discord are the heavily armed horsemen. I've heard that Lord Fangrang's army numbers almost 10,000 of them. You nod. You have heard fearsome stories of their fighting force and discipline. Non continues. I think it's worth offering Lord Fanrag an alliance against Merc, be it unofficial. Even if Discord remains neutral and doesn't send its cavalry to help Merc, it would be a great success for us. And if we have its 10,000 blades on our side, we will surely raise the city of Seven to the ground. Well, let's not forget the surrounding peoples. Let's not forget the surrounding peoples, you add. They could be useful to us. Judging by the looks on your friends' faces, you quickly try to explain what you have in mind. The barbarians of the North Mountains, the horse lords of the steppes, and the spearmen of Blood Pledge. They all suffer from the rages of Merc and would probably follow someone who can unite their efforts to fight the Seven. You have to be careful, Abbas says. Lord Iran could become a fearsome foe if you overrule his influence over his surrounding neighbors. You feel the time for preparation has ended. Alliances aren't forged in a day, and you anticipate your mission would prove far more complex than it already looks. Undoubtedly, your greatest journey lies ahead. Alright, let's go to troops. Your warriors are organized in squads of 10 men. Consider carefully and decide how many squads of nameless bears, wolves, deer, or foxes are going to accompany you. The maximum number of squads you can take is 12, and you're obliged to have at least one squad from each of the 4 army types of nameless. Okay, wow. Wolves, light infantry, armed with swords and the backbone of the nameless army. Although they are poorly protected, they are furious warriors who are extremely agile. Heavy infantry are the bears. Heavy armor and wield large hammers, which are able to bend even the toughest defenses. The deer have horns attached to their helmets and their long spears that are able to bring down any horse rider. And the foxes are the archers of your people, wielding short but deadly bows and long knives. Heavy. They're all heavy infantry. So how does one decide which of these are the best? Oh, the tooltip's off. It says bears for everybody. I see. Okay, so the deer are regular infantry and spearmen. I feel like archers are pretty powerful and heavy infantry would be powerful. I mean, I'm right just like trending towards doing something pretty even of all of them. Maybe we'll just do this. Okay, you've chosen the best men you can rely on to complete your mission. Got it. So now we can go to, oh wow, a lot of places. Discord, Coalhorn, Outrimmer, Oakleaf, North Blaze, Fleet, and Training Grounds. I feel like we should go to Coalhorn and help them out. What are the training grounds, though? You go to the training grounds where your people practice the art of military combat. Here you can practice mock combats and prepare for the real ones throughout your adventure. Do not worry, you will not lose any of your troops as this is merely a training exercise. Let's do it! I don't actually know how combat's going to work. You loosen your sword and select a few warriors for the upcoming challenge. To battle. Okay. So I've got 3 and 4 here. We're going against 2 sets of 3 Merc Knights and a Merc Axeman. Heavy infantry and light infantry, all 1 range and movement. Our spearman's 1 range and movement. Our light infantry can move 2, I see. Heavy infantry is 1 and 1, and then our archers can attack from 3 away. You can end turn or look at our adventure sheet. Got it. Alright, let's practice here. Hints. While your unit is active, some of the surrounding hex cells become green. This indicates the distance the unit can move in a single turn. So let's move them up. And put the deer up here. Actually, before we move the archers, let's move him a little. The archers down here. When you're done with your turn, press end turn at the top. Let's put the heavies up here. Hits. While your unit is active, however the enemy units see the damage it will take, and if it's in attack range. So it's not quite yet an attack range. Got it. Let's move him, and then we can attack. Nice. All right, so we actually took one out. Let's come in and attack as well. Great. And we'll put him up pretty close and end our turn. All right, we got hit with 1 here. Hit there for 1. Hit for 1. Move you in and hit. And then that means we can move this guy in pretty far. Alright, so we lost another. Victory. Okay, so that's kind of how combat works. Pretty straightforward. Got it. You look around, your men are exhausted, but they feel that you have won a small victory, and as they begin to calm down, smirks spread across their faces. Alright, we've got enough training. Alright, let's go to Coalhorn. I want to help with this uprising. It feels like that would be time sensitive. Although who knows if it actually is. Coalhorn lies in ruins. The gates are wide open and smoke rises above the walls from the fires in the city. Houses are wrapped in flames, squares are destroyed, and in some places you see crushed barricades. Gerard's messenger takes you down a street that leads to a district by the river. You see rows of rich houses that once belonged to the Horned, and now they are nothing but rubble. You walk in silence on the blood and ash-covered street. Halt! Stay where you are in the name of Lord Azazer. Uh-oh, somebody says that to me? A small group of Horned soldiers appears from an adjacent alley and blocks your way. You do not intend to negotiate with them, and they would hardly agree to let you pass anyway. Test your insight. Interesting. They're well armed and are wearing heavy armor. There is no doubt they are also skillful warriors. But why would they face a much bigger group of armed men such as yours? Is there something you are missing? Interesting. Try to escape then. Run down the side streets. It's a trap, you think to yourself. If you go to the narrow streets, the Horned would not be able to surround you. You command your men to retreat to the side streets. Bewildered, they follow your orders, but the streets turn out to be too narrow for your large numbers. Soon you were all scattered down the winding streets of Coalhorn. Uh-oh. You stumble upon more Horned soldiers and the battle breaks down into dozens of small, bloody skirmishes. You are cut off from your people when a group of Horned warriors plunges into your squad. While fighting a big Horned officer, you realize that your men are far from away from you. After an exhausting combat, you finally defeat him and his body drops to the ground. You look around and see that you're in a district that is almost destroyed by the war. You hear a cry coming from inside a once rich and beautiful house near you. Let's check it out. You check inside the house. You enter cautiously, ready for anything. In one of the rooms, you find the doubled-over figure of a woman who's crying and occasionally moaning as if she's in pain. From what you can tell in the falling darkness, her ragged clothes were once luxurious and elegant. Perhaps a bit too elegant for the pitman. Speak to her. Who are you? You ask her cautiously. The only answer you receive is a desperate sob. What happened here? You continue. Without saying a word, the woman turns to face you and you freeze. Although it is covered in blood, you immediately tell apart the high cheekbones, blue eyes, and thin lips, characteristic of the Horned. The tears running from her eyes have left light traces on the bloody mask her face is turned to. When she wipes them off, you notice that every second finger on her hand is missing, as if they were torn out with tongues. Whoa. Are you alone here? More tears follow, leaving cracks in the dried bloody mask. Then tears turn into weeping. The woman hugs her knees and shakes her head in response to your question. Search the house. You leave the woman and check the other rooms. In one of them, you find the corpse of a man who's also missing some of his fingers. Petrified, you cannot turn your eyes away from the horrifying sight until you hear shouts coming from the street and recognize Ragnar's thunderous voice. Go out into the street. You go out into the street again. Outside, you find a few squads of the nameless warriors surrounding 10 horned soldiers. Wayward, Ragnar shouts when he sees you. One of the horned warriors turns toward you. Are you Wayward, the leader of the nameless people? Lord Azazel sends me. We have a message for you. Don't listen to him, Ragnar growls angrily. It's another trick, I tell you. Remember how they ambushed us earlier? Order your warriors to kill the Horned. Ragnar grunts happily and swings his axe. The blade sinks in between the head and shoulder of the Horned messenger and blood starts gushing out. Your warriors plunge into an attack and soon the enemy's soldiers are crushed. A little after the skirmish is over, the rest of your warriors, led by Abbas and Nan, find you and join you. You gain 1 glory point. As your mentor tells you about how they gathered the dispersed nameless squads, a big group of horned warriors show up at the far end of the street. They must have heard the sounds of the battle. You knew that a direct clash with them now will cost you far too many victims. Besides, it is high time for you to meet with Gerard. You cannot keep wandering around the city fighting aimless battles. You try to escape, but this does not happen so easily. You lose some of your men. You lose 1 Fox's squad. Man. Fortunately, you soon come across a group of pitmen. Without encountering any more surprises, you are taken to the building where Gerard is waiting for you. Upon entering the wide courtyard, your men fall silent. The sight strikes you as well. There are men, women, and children lying around everywhere, ragged and dirty. Judging by their gaunt bodies, they must have been starving for days. Many of them are covered in blisters or horrifying wounds. Who are these people? One of them pitmen explains that these are innocent citizens whose homes were burned by the Horned. Man, why would the Horned do that? To teach us a lesson for having revolted against them. To teach us that we are slaves and we have no right to live unless they decide so. All masters are like that. Ragnar stays with the nameless warriors. You leave your weapons with him, and together with Abbas and Nan, you follow Gerard's 2 guards into some dirty corridors. You enter the room where Gerard is expecting you. The pitman's leader and a woman, both unarmed, are waiting for you in the middle of the room. Look at Gerard. Tall man with a burn scar that covers almost half his face all the way down to his shoulder and arm. Interesting. Look at the woman. Next to him is a broad-shouldered woman wearing a tool belt equipped with a file, a pair of tongues, and a small hammer. You notice that the tools are carmine with dried blood. Her right hand is on her belt while the other one is on a table next to her. You cannot help but notice that she is looking at you with resentment. Weird. Look around the room. You notice that there are wheelbarrows, tools, and pieces of ore piled in the corners. There are also all sorts of trash on the table, semi-covered with canvases. Wayward, the pitman's leader begins. I am Gerard, and this is Josanna, one of my assistants. I thank you for accepting my invitation and offer you my apologies for not being able to secure a safer welcome to Kulhorn for your men. There are battles everywhere in the city. We have not yet defeated the Horned. I don't really want to dig into what she's using those tools for. I know it's bad. You thank the proposal for alliance. After a while, you and Gerard negotiate a deal for the number of siege machines he will give you in return for helping him defeat the Horned. You prepare for the big clash. which will take place at Azazar's citadel. At sunrise, you head for the big square where the final battle of Cohorn will take place. The two forces clash and the battle breaks out violently. Spears and arrows whistle everywhere. The moans of the wounded merge with the clink of the weapons, and soon everything around you blurs in a shroud of pain and blood. To battle. Alright. So we've got a rifleman, which is a range of 4 and movement of 2. That's really bad. And crossbowmen. So I'm worried about the ranged ones for sure. Ranged of 4 means he could hit 1, 2, 3. He could hit all the way up to like here. And with a movement of 2, he's going to be able to get in. Let's bring our wolves up as close as we can. Basically move in. Oh man, already can reach us. It's really bad. Man, we're gonna take a lot of damage before we even close. Well, okay, at least we can come here and start wailing on this guy. Hold on. Yeah, let's move him up here. So I want to be able to get them in as well. Okay, good. And then move him in. Can I do more with you? Everyone's gone, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. Gotta kill these big archers. Boom. Excellent. Excellent. Move there. Bring the archers in so we can start hitting these guys when they close. Okay, let's hit them with the archers. And then we'll just pound them. Okay, good. Not too bad. We definitely lost people, but a fair number of people actually, but not too bad. Replay battle, no, move on. Alright. After your victory, Gerard personally executes Lord Azazar on the city square. The pitman casts his hands off and then hangs him. And so the last of the dynasty of the Dark Lords of Colhorn meets its end, and the city falls in the hands of the pitman. Gerard keeps his best part of the deal, and after you rest and replenish your supplies, you set off. We've got Breaker of Chains, liberate the downtrodden. Excellent. What do we have on our adventure sheet? We're down a bunch on our soldiers, but we have siege machines. Got it. So I wonder if there's a way to replenish our soldiers at all. Let's go to Outramir. I don't actually remember what we were doing there. You leave the mountain slopes behind you and you go down the dry and sandy lands that mark the beginning of the Outramir. You intend to seek the help of Zin, the rich ruler of the Desert Kingdom. Look around. In the distance you can see the Bridge of 100 Eyes. It is named like that because every year the Zin severs the heads of 50 criminals and then impales them on the stakes along both sides of the bridge. Well, that's pleasant. Something grabs your attention. A moment later, you notice a cloud of dust rising on the horizon southeast from you. A group of horsemen is coming your way. Get off the road. While you wonder whether to stay on the road or get off it, the riders arrive at the bridge ahead of you. The horsemen cross it and disappear in the shade of the Rift Mountains to the west. You continue on your path and soon leave the river behind as you go over the same bridge. You squint. It looks like there's a second cloud of dust coming from Outramir, bigger than the first one. You move along the road undisturbed. You move along the road. Whoever's coming your way would hardly dare to attack you without a good reason. Uh-oh. From within the cloud of dust appear the foaming mouths of the horses, spurred by their riders. They carry the flag of the Zin of Outramir, Abbas notices. The horse riders slow down and stop in front of you. One of them, who has a mustache longer than his braided hair, shouts out, "Release the prince! Surrender and your life will be spared. We are not who you take us for." The man with the mustache looks befuddled. His grip, however, remains firm on his sword. Who are you looking for? Your words do not seem to please the man with the mustache, so he takes out his sword and points it to you. Last chance, where's the prince? You confuse us with someone else. Why should I trust you? The mustache man grins, showing his ugly teeth. You're lying so you can escape. Wouldn't we have run away the moment we saw you coming toward us? The man ponders for a while. Abbas joins in the conversation. My name is Abbas al-Atram. I know people from the court of Zin Saldume the Just. You can ask Bar, Ismail, and Vadid Selak about us. They will vouch for me and my friends. We have just entered the lands of the Zin and would like to meet with him. We are not running from anyone, and we come in peace. The names Abbas mentioned seem to have an effect, and the mustached man becomes less tense. What has happened, and who are you looking for? The Outramarian tells you that a small group of warriors attacked the caravan that Prince Barazai, the son of the Outramarian ruler, was traveling with. The assailants kidnapped him and slipped away in the direction of the Rift Mountains. That must have been the first group of riders we saw earlier. The prince must have been with them, explains Nan. This is our chance. What do you mean? Asks Ragnar. I suggest that we go after Barazai's kidnappers. The mountains will slow them down even though they're riding. We have a chance to catch up with them on the other side of the Rift Mountains because we can take a much shorter route. If we succeed in rescuing the prince, we will win the Zin of Outremer to our side. Abbas rubs his chin thoughtfully. The Zin is very attached to his son, who also happens to be the only heir to the throne. After a short discussion, everyone agrees with our plan. Alright, let's go rescue. You cross the Rift Mountains in pursuit of Prince Barazai's kidnappers. You learn from a group of woodmen that the abductors were headed for the Golden Fjords. The legends say, Abbas begins to talk as if lost in thoughts, that the water there shines bright under the sun because the rays reflect in Danheim's gold lying on the bottom of the fjords. Yeah, we have no time. Let's go. It was probably actually helpful to learn about it. You reach the Golden Fjords at night, but a shepherd passing by with his donkey tells you that he saw the riders going south, toward Honey Valley. You curse your luck. However, night has fallen and your men need to rest. Set up a camp. You set up a camp near the river. The soft splashing of the water resounds in the night and takes the pressure off your bodies. Stay here, you fool. Where do you think you're going? You hear a voice somewhere near you. You stand up and see two of your nameless warriors. The bigger one is trying to stop the other one from going into the water. Ask what is going on. They want the gold. This is Lokir, Wayward, says the bigger man. Even though he already bears a name, he is still young and foolish. He wants to get into the cursed water, and in the middle of the night. Lokir is a young man of no more than 20 years. His eyes gleam with unusual light. Wayward, there is gold in there. If we take it, we could hire an army no one could ever defeat. How are we going to get the gold out? I will do it. I will do several dives if I have to, but I will get it out. It is clear that Lokir has gone mad. You do not attempt to stop him by yourself because you're not sure what he's capable of. Order the others to catch him and tie him up. Lokir resists. He punches, bites, hisses, and shouts. After your men tie him to a tree, he begins screaming until his voice is hoarse. Leave him tied to the tree, kill him to release him from his suffering. Command a group of soldiers to take him back to the nameless forest. Keep him restrained, but take him along your journey. Man, I don't want to send a whole group back to the forest, but I don't want to, abandon him, so let's bring him with us. You keep him restrained, but take him along on your journey. All tied up and watched over by a couple of your nameless, you believe he will not delay you and hope he'll eventually come to his senses. Alright. To the Honey Valley we go. When you approach Honey Valley, you see the riders who have set up camp near its opening. Their number has grown, and you notice some warriors from Outremer. Their swarthy faces turn to your group in surprise, but no one seems to be in a rush to attack you. Where is Prince Barazai? You shout, ready to give an order to attack. A slender young man with pleasant features steps forward. I am Prince Barazai, and who are you? I am Wayward of the Nameless People. I have come to rescue you. But the prince and the men behind him burst into loud laughter. Wayward, I will have to disappoint you. There is no one to free me from. I am not held here against my will. And what about the attack on your caravan? People loyal to me staged the attack. Barazai waves his hand and looks at your shoulders. You and your men look like experienced warriors. If you truly want to help me, do not try to bring me back to my insane father, but join my cause. Uh-oh. Well, what is your cause? To put an end to my father's cruelties. Without waiting for an invitation, Barazai continues his story. It's been a few years since my father started acting in an unusual way. Doctors could not tell what was wrong with him, and they never got a chance to find out, because he suspected them in treason and hanged them after cutting off their limbs. Whoa. You cast a questioning look at Abbas, who gives you a hesitant nod. I've heard rumors of Zin Saldumai's unusual behavior, but those spreading the rumors would put it down to his age. You have seen the Bridge of 100 Eyes, haven't you? Asks Barazai. You nod. For a long time, the Zin of Outremer have been ordering the annual execution of 50 of the cruelest criminals. Murderers, plunderers, rapists, poisoners, and patricides. He puts their heads on spikes and leaves them to rot in the bridge as a warning. I know, I saw them on my way into Outremer. These were just last month's 55 spiked heads. Last month's, Wayward. My father has lost his mind. He sees enemies and traitors everywhere. Anyone who does not praise him is his enemy. Anyone who openly disapproves of the executions is a traitor. Executions take place every day. Every month, 100 new eyes stare at the bloody land of Outremer. From atop the wooden pikes of the bridge. This has to stop. So have you decided to dethrone your father? Dethrone him, explains Barazai, and his swarthy, handsome young face flushes. His voice is shaky. I only wish him the best. He has to step down from the throne unless he wants to be lynched or killed by his own people. I do not intend to kill him, Barazai continues, but to convince him to hand over the power without shedding blood. For this purpose I need a strong army and you can help me. He tells you that he's managed to organize a certain amount of Outramarian warriors who are loyal to him, that he counts on the support of the soldiers of Weep who have joined him here in Honey Valley. Indeed, just a little further, you notice some of the troops from Weep, armed with their typical whips and long swords. My father is leading a squad of his personal guards to rescue me. To him, I am the victim of a treason, and he thinks he should personally save me from the clutches of his enemies. I plan to meet him on the battlefield and persuade him to hand over the power to me. If we have your support as well, we'll be more persuasive. I think we could make a decision. We don't need to ponder. I'm going to accept. You accept. Even Abbas admits that people do not call Saldumai the Just anymore, but the Cruel, and that eventually a civil war will break in Outremer. If Barazai comes to power, you would surely have Outremer's support in your march against Merc. Alright, to the desert we go. We go to intercept Saldumai and his personal guards. The heavily armored warriors move too slowly, and they've not reached the foothills of the Rift Mountains yet, when you stumble upon them. The barren Outremarian land, heated by the scorching sun, is ready to absorb the blood of sons and fathers standing against each other. To battle. Wait, we're just by ourselves? We're not getting any help? That's bullshit. We're supposed to be joining up with this whole group. Alright, so they've got 2 sets of cavalry, range 1, movement 2. Infantry, range 1, movement 1. And then archer, range 3, movement 1. It's the archers I worry the most about. I can't move there. Let's move the spearman up, move this guy up, move this guy up. Okay, let's see what happens here. So the archer is worrying. Let's get him down here. I feel like the deer will be quite powerful, and the bears. Let's stay here, because he's going to be able to move 2 and then attack, so I don't want to be in range. It's a little strategic planning on my part. Move him, shoot, and then come here and attack. Excellent. Now he can attack 3. So let's try to stay low here. Ow, I guess that wasn't low enough. Let's come up here and attack him. Perfect. Because he was the one to worry the most about. He can get in range pretty easily. I guess if I back up here... Well, let me shoot. And then move here, so at least if he's going to attack, it's not the archers. Man, we're so weak now. Okay. We're not going to be able to shoot any farther than that anyway, so... Alright, this is bad. Man, I've lost so many people. Okay, but we won, so it's good. The old Zin of Outremer falls in the battle. His frail body, covered in blood, is taken to the city where the shift of power to Barazai goes smoothly. It looks like the people of Outremer love Barazai more than his father, and we're secretly hoping that this moment would come someday. Barazai, the new Zin of Outremer, promises you his help in your mission. Now you rest assured that you've gained a strong ally in the south. Okay, we got 3 squads of warriors. That's good. Replenish us a little. Plus Ba Zinga, depose a madman. All right, let's go ahead and take a break here, and when we come back, we will continue our adventure. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.